Hello, science nerds. If you told me 5 years ago that I would be going on YouTube and recording lessons that were going to be saved forever with this sort of thing on, I would have just thought, of course I would never do that. That would be awful. Anyway, here I am. I'm Lara. This is Theatre of Science. I stream free live lessons to home educators. I'm trained to teach physics to A-level. This isn't one of the lessons. This isn't the free lesson that comes with the free printouts. This is the Lego Storytime show, where we learn about a thing that I've been learning about this week. We do an activity, and then I tell you a story with Lego at the end. And the thing that I've been learning about this week is badgers. I didn't really know anything about badgers. I mean, they're quite mysterious, aren't they? They're the UK's largest land predator. They are like 90 centimetres long, so nearly a metre long, and 90 centimetres is about the height of a sort of standard kitchen unit. So the bit where you sort of stand and chop vegetables or whatever in your kitchen, that's probably about the same height as a badger is long. And they weigh about 12 kilograms. So if you've got like a bag of flour like this in your house, which weighs 1.5 kilograms, it's about 8 of those. Come on, try it later. That's a lot of badger. But they're nocturnal, they only come out at night. So I'm 42 years old. I've never seen a live badger in happy circumstances. I've never seen a live badger in the wild. And this has become like the thing that I need to do. So yeah, obviously, you know, you might say, well, maybe it's better if we leave the badgers alone. The Lego story is about how maybe badgers are in trouble, possibly because people don't care enough about them, because people don't really think about them. So maybe encouraging people to go out and keep a safe distance and actually see them might help. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna look at how to spot a badger. So little puzzle, which seems really obvious, and I feel silly for not knowing. But apparently, elderberry bushes, elderberry trees. We're doing woodlands in our all ages lessons at the moment, which is why I thought badgers would tie in quite nicely. If you've ever seen a plant like this growing, then it's an elderberry tree. It's native to the UK. It's poisonous to eat raw, but these flowers eventually turn into black berries, which end up being really delicious if you cook them in jam. Don't eat them raw, they're toxic raw. They often grow near badger setts. The set is where the badger lives. Why do you think that elderberry bushes grow near badgers? Here's a leaf. I just showed you it, but you know, I don't think that's quite the same species, but that's very similar to what our elderberries look like. So badgers eat 80% of their diet is worms. I know, so they fit in nicely with our Theatre of Science mascot Wormy. Sorry, Wormy. 80% of their diet is worms, but they also eat fruit. They eat things like pears, and they eat elderberries. So why are elderberry trees often grown near badger setts? I might have said, I'm a physics teacher, not a biologist. I might have said it must be because they choose to live near elderberry trees because they like elderberries. No, it's not that, is it? It's because they eat elderberries and then the seeds go through their body and they poo out the seeds. So they poo near where they live. So elderberry tree is nice, isn't it? So the first thing to do is to look for, it's not the first thing to do, it's just a nice little note, is you could always look for elderberry plants. We've talked about their poo, so I think being able to identify animal poo is such a cool thing to be able to do, and I was pleased to find that badger poo is reasonably easy to identify. First of all, because it's quite big. If you know about different wild animals, badger poo is going to be one of the biggest ones, but also because, generally speaking, they put it in little holes. They dig a little hole, and so if you ever find a little kind of hole in some soil with a poo in it in the wild, it's probably a badger that's done that. Here's a picture of some badger poo. You can't really tell that it's in a hole, but I thought, well, I can't not show you a picture of the poo. There you go. So yeah, 80% earthworms, so they're going to be quite, the poo's sort of smushy and brown, you know, unlike all those other poos, but also maybe have some bit of seed in as well. So elderberry, these are things to look out for. Another thing to look out for is they tend to take the same routes. They tend to take the same paths around. So again, I didn't know this. Well, let's talk about where they live. Because we're studying woodlands in all ages lessons at the moment. You are very free to watch them. They're just live streamed like this. They come with free optional printouts. I'm really enjoying myself in them. We've only just started. So badgers live in woodlands. You might know that. The badger sets, you tend to find them in woodlands, but you don't want to be just trekking into the deepest, darkest part of a woodland if you want to see a badger, because 80% of their diet is earthworms, and the best place to dig up an earthworm is somewhere where there's quite a lot of grass. So you can't really see that at all, can you? But it's a beautiful picture of a wood. So where badgers like to live is in woodland, which is on the edge of somewhere, I need new pens, of somewhere that is like a green field. So yeah, you want to be ideally looking somewhere where there's a big stretch of grass and also some trees, because they come out to hunt around for earthworms. And yeah, they take the same routes again and again. So if you've ever walked through a sort of wildish sort of field in the countryside and seen paths that have been naturally sort of made by things moving to and fro and to and fro, I've always assumed that they were either made by humans or maybe by sheep. But it turns out they could quite easily have been made by a badger. A good clue is, and apparently it's obviously easier to see if it's snowing, because you can actually see their tracks. We'll get to their tracks in a sec. But if the path leads to just a fence that a human being or a sheep wouldn't be able to get over very easily, then it's quite possible that those paths have been made by badgers. Now, someone was saying yesterday on Facebook, yeah, but Lara, someone could just climb over the fence. Like, it might be a path that has naturally been made by a human that climbs over the fence. Yes, and what else can we do? If we see a path, a natural path through some sort of grassland or field, and it ends in a fence, what are we going to check to see if this path has been made by a badger? Check for fur, right, on the bottom of the fence. Because if it's a badger path, they don't care about fences, they've just squished underneath. So if you ask an adult if it's okay for you to pick it up. But if you find any hair underneath, like grey or brown or white fur, that's a very good sign. How you spot badger fur is try and roll it between your fingers. If you can't roll it, apparently, then it's badger, because their hairs are quite flat. So if you do that, how outdoorsy experts are we going to feel, like looking under the fence to see if there's any hair and then being like, badger. I can't wait to do this. So yeah, let's move on to their tracks, and then we'll talk about their sets a little bit more, and we'll do the activity. I tell you what, you could be starting the activity. What you need is an empty spice jar and a little ball of paper that will fit quite easily inside the spice jar. So not too big, not too small, but what we're going to do is get a ball of paper and balance it inside the entrance to our spice jar. So yeah, get a bit of scrap paper while I tell you about badger tracks. Again, just such a brilliant skill, isn't it? To be able to know what animals pass by if you're in the wild. And I couldn't have done this. So badgers have 5 toes with quite long claws. Now some dogs, on some of their dogs' front legs and back legs have got different amounts of toes, so I read, and there's different species of dog. But dogs are unlikely to have these huge claws, so that's a good way to tell if you found a badger, is apparently this sort of kidney bean shaped paw, and then the 5 toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after that, you get these huge claw marks. And that is a good sign that you're nearby a badger set. This is where a badger has been moving around, okay? So that's a badger paw print. Would you like to see different paw prints and guess whether they are the paw prints of a badger or not, to check you've understood what a badger paw print looks like? Of course you would! Okay, let's do that then. So while I'm showing the paw prints, you need a spice jar for the activity and a bit of scrap paper that is shaped like a ball, and I'm going to put, it might be a little bit big, but eventually I'm going to put the ball into the spice jar like that. Yeah, that might be, I'm going to make it slightly smaller. Okay, anyway, onto these badger tracks. What about this one? Do you reckon that's a badger? Is that a badger track? Is it a badger? What do you think? Well, it's hard to tell if it's kidney bean shaped, isn't it? And it almost looks like it's got 6 toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really does look like it's got 6. But actually, you've got this kidney bean shaped paw. You've got more than 4 toes. Don't know what's happened there. And then you've got some claws above. So that is a badger track, actually. Yes, it is. I'm sorry I didn't put any kind of little green tick on the screen, but yes, that is a badger. What about this one? Is that a badger? Is this a badger? Well, it's a little kidney bean kind of triangle shaped thing, and then 4 toes with 4 claws on the end. Is it a badger? It's not. It's not a badger. I'm just going to cross 2 pens in front of it. No, that is not a badger because it's not got enough. It's not got enough toes. I believe the internet tells me that that is a fox. Next one. What do you think? Is that a badger? It's on sand. Well, it seems to be sand, doesn't it? Maybe it's mud. Badgers don't really like to live near water, so I read, because their sets might get flooded. They don't want water getting into their sets, so you don't generally on riverbanks or anything like that. But that is a badger. Yes, it is. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes. A little kidney bean shaped thing there. And then we've got the big claws, which is a giveaway. So yeah, that is a badger, apparently. What about this one? Who's a little cute little ring? What is that? Is that a badger? It's... No, it's not, is it? It's not a badger because it hasn't got enough toes. That is very clearly a 4-toed animal. So no, that's not a badger. What about this one? That's tricky, isn't it? This is more like what we're actually going to see in real life, I think. If we're ever walking through the woods, we might come across something like that. Do you reckon that's a badger? It is actually. Yeah, it is. Well, Alexis Martin put it on Wikimedia Commons and said it was. It is quite a distinctive kidney bean shape, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we've got 5 somewhere to be seen, and we've got those claws above. So yeah, that is badger. What about this one? Are there any badger tracks here? I love this one because there's quite a few different animal tracks here. I really had to think about this one myself. Just going to move this chair aside so we can do the activity. Now, most people on Facebook yesterday were saying, no, there's no badger tracks there. That's not a badger track. There actually is a badger track there. But you'd have to be pretty good at this. I think you'd have to have had quite a lot of practice to spot it. I actually didn't even look it up. It's not this one. This one's teeny tiny. It's not this one. That's a hoof print. It's this one here. It's just the mud's so deep that it doesn't look like how you would expect a badger track to look. But can you see actually that's the top there? We've got that. The claws have gone in there, they've really sliced through the mud, and then the bottom you've kind of got that kidney bean print. So yeah, anyway, Nigel, who put this up on Wikimedia Comments, he says that's a badger print, so I guess let's believe them. Right, should we do the activity and talk a little bit about badger sets? I'm just going to flip you around, but have you slow down. I hope this doesn't look weird. It looks absolutely fine. So it looks as fine as I ever look on these Lego story shows. So for this activity, you need an empty spice jar and a little bit of paper that will fit inside the spice jar. And all I want you to do is to put the spice jar on the table with the little bit of paper balanced just inside it if you can, like that. And can you just blow the bit of paper into the spice jar and see what happens? If you're not doing this with me, if you're just watching me, then I'll do it in a sec. What do you think is going to happen? So we'll talk about the actual badger set now. I'll just wait for you to do this. So we've talked about where the badger sets are. We've talked about how you find a badger set. You could look for tracks. You could look for paths. You could look for hair. You could look for poos, elderberry bushes. when you actually get to the place where the badger set is, you'll probably find lots of mounds of soil. So badger sets, again, I didn't know this, incredible. They are made over years and years and years by whole families of badgers, like generations. So badgers live together in small groups, maybe sort of 7 badgers. And yeah, it's not like a badger is born and makes a set. It might be living in a set that its great-great-grandparents made or something. So they're really complicated because it's more than a lifetime's amount of work. And the soil that they've taken out could have been sort of grown over almost with like grass and plants. But if you find a bit in a wood, and I've seen this and I didn't know what it is, if you find sort of weird kind of almost like random piles of soil and you don't know what's happening, it's quite likely that there is a badger set nearby. There might be some fresh soil and there might be some really old piles of soil. And they live in sets with multiple entrances. And this activity is to talk about why. Have you done that? Let me blow this in here and then we'll carry on. Oh, gasp! I love it. This is the first time we've ever done this activity on Theatre of Science. I can't believe it took us this long. It's such a classic Theatre of Science activity. I didn't make it up, this one. It's really simple. And it's really weird and cool. What is that? So what's happening is, I mean, I found loads of different explanations on the internet. I think it has to do with inertia that we just talked about in our all ages theme park lessons that finished before half term. I think inertia means things just want to keep doing what they're doing. And the paper has got quite a lot of mass. It's made of quite a lot of particles. So the paper's got a lot of inertia. It just wants to keep doing what it's doing. The air that you blow into the jar has got less inertia. It's quite happy to move. So air gets into the jar. And then because there's a lot of air in the jar, then some of it comes out. So I think that's what's happening, is that you're blowing air into the jar. Some of that air is therefore coming out of the jar because the air particles like to be spread out. And that's the force that the paper is feeling. It's good though, isn't it? So good. Yeah, so the reason why we're talking about that is because I pictured a badger set. I think a lot of the time you see it in storybooks as just one long tube of soil with a kind of little nest at the end where maybe the babies are born and it's all kind of deep in the ground to protect them. That's not really what badger sets are like. They're far more complicated, multi-leveled things. And they've got loads and loads of different entrances and exits. And they reckon it's because of airflow. Because if it was just one long tube with a bit at the end, there wouldn't really be any reason for air to come in and out. The badger might suffocate because it's breathing out carbon dioxide. It's a mammal just like us. So to help airflow, you've got different entrances so that new air can come in. And apparently the mother badgers with the little babies, then they're often not tucked away right at the end. They're in the corridor because that's where the most airflow is. And then big badgers that come into the set sort of act like plugs and push a load of new air in with them. And that's it's good, isn't it? It's just evolution. Incredible. So the thing to do is, and I've been looking a lot on badgerwatcher.com, I think it is. I'll show you the website. It's only fair to credit the guy because he's absolutely amazing. Badgerwatcher.com. Here we are. A lot of the information that I'm telling you I got from this. Tales from the Woods, the diary of a badger watching man. So it's badgerwatcher.com. We'll tell you everything you need to know about how to recognise a badger set. Look, I've completely stolen all his information about the paths and how it's much easier to see them in the snow. And he's also got a bit, there's a load of poo. And he's also got a big section on badger watching a guide as well, which you should absolutely read. But I will just tell you what he says about how not to disturb them, because he says, and I completely agree, it's incredibly important to not disturb the badgers. So they're nocturnal, so they come out just when it's getting dark. So if you found a badger set, you've got to get there quite early, because otherwise they've got really good hearing and good eyesight. They might see you or smell you before you arrive, and then they'll disappear and you won't realise that you've scared them away and you'll just be sat there for ages. Wrap up really warm, sit a good distance away, maybe get binoculars so you can sit even further away. It's really important they don't know you're there. And if you've done that early enough, you will find that they come out when it's getting dark. Oh, can you imagine? I can't wait to do this. It's important that you're downwind from them. So make it that the wind is blowing from the badger to you, because if the wind is blowing from you to the badger, then they'll smell you. And that interrupts their hunting, so they won't go out to hunt, so they won't be able to get food. So you mustn't do that. And the last thing is, he said, eventually they'll disperse, they'll go off to do their hunting. That's when you should leave, but don't leave too soon, because again, you just don't want them to know that you're there at all. So when they've gone off, they won't come back for ages because they're hunting, but give it a good long while. What he does is take an inflatable cushion and sit in a tree nearby so that his smell is sort of carried off on the wind and doesn't reach the badger. It's good, isn't it? Oh. Right. I think that's everything I needed to tell you about how we spot badgers, and it's time for the Lego story. Now, the Lego story is quite sad today, and I am going to talk about animals dying. I just need to warn you. You've heard the worst of it. I'm not going to say anything like graphic other than animals die. And to warn you about it, I had to say animals die now 3 times. So it's not going to get worse than that. But if you say badger to any adult really who lives in the UK like me, they will probably instantly think of one thing. So I thought, well, I'm sorry. We're going to have to talk about it because I actually didn't know very much about it. I knew of it, but I hadn't really looked into it, and now I have. So I thought, this is important that you know this, even though it is quite sad. Get in the script. Dropping my Lego holder on the ground. Here we go. Now, my printer's not working. The last word of apology I'll say is I'm here today with internet and things, and my printer is not working. So, printing off a lovely picture of a badger, I've had to make my own picture of a badger, and it's turned a really serious topic very silly, and for that I apologise. Anyway, here we go. Lego story. Off we trot. Life. It comes in so many shapes and sizes, doesn't it? Animals, plants, fungus, existing together, intertwined on this incredible planet, just doing what it can to survive. Look at this little guy, for example. Mycobacterium bovis. What a life it has. It likes to grow inside other animals, entering through their mouths or noses, where it divides and divides. If you are the animal in question, or you own the animal, this is bad. This is really, really, really bad. Mycobacterium bovis is the bacteria that causes something called bovine tuberculosis. It's tuberculosis in cows, BTB for short. It makes cows very poorly. It makes them cough, it makes them weak, it makes them so they stop eating. And all this happens quite late, which means it's really difficult to spot BTB, bovine TB, and control it. Now, cows that get bovine TB have to be killed, which is obviously really bad for the cows and also incredibly sad for the farmers and also incredibly expensive. In 2020, the mean average cost to a farmer of finding BTB in their cattle was nearly £24,000. That's without... So you might be thinking, well, hooray, it's so good that I'm not a cattle farmer, unless you're a cattle farmer. But bad news, chums, I'm afraid that the cost of compensating the farmer, that cost that they had was before compensation, but the cost of compensating the farmers and researching BTB and treating it is costing people who pay tax in the UK £100 million a year. So it really is everyone's problem, not just the problem of cow farmers. Scotland, it turns out, is officially BTB free, which confusingly doesn't mean it's BTB free, but that they have a normal small amount of cases up in Scotland. So I looked on the Scotland website to find out what their secret is, and they list all the ways that cows can catch TB. So one of the ways that cows catch BTB is just by being close to each other. Just by being close to each other, just like humans, they breathe in each other's germs. By sharing water, because obviously then they're kind of passing their saliva into the water and then they're drinking each other's saliva. Gross. So 94% of BTB cases are spread from cow to cow. The other 6% is caused by things like slurry interval. Have you heard of slurry? So slurry is a mixture of dense solids suspended in liquid, usually water. A slurry pit is where farmers put their animals' poo and wee and maybe hay and other like water and things like that, all the kind of disgusting stuff. This is absolutely not, by the way, how slurry pits work, that you would be wearing protective clothing. But yeah, all the poo and the wee from the animals goes into the slurry pit and then breaks down into something that is lovely fertiliser that helps the crops to grow. Slurry pits also release incredibly dangerous flammable gases. If you ever find yourself near a slurry pit, kids, get far away from it. They're incredibly dangerous. Being a farmer is really, really hard. But because, of course, slurry contains cow feces and wee, if the slurry has BTB in it and then it gets spread on the field, you ready for these incredible theatre science special effects? Yeah! If the slurry gets spread onto the field and then healthy cows come along and eat the grass which has got the slurry on it, then they can catch BTB from that grass for up to 6 months later. So the Scottish government says these are all the different things that cause and spread BTB in cows. Also things like farm equipment and from cows to calves through the milk and their food. So looking at all these different areas is how Scotland is controlling BTB. So 94% of cases are spread from cow to cow. Some of the remaining 6% is spread through things like slurry. But some cases of BTB are spread by wildlife. Wildlife roaming from cow to cow, farm to farm. In England, it was thought that if you kill some of the animals that are spreading the BTB, that would help to clear it up. Now, BTB is spread by lots of different animals. It's spread by cats, dogs, earthworms, but 2 of those you don't want to kill, and 1 of them it's very hard to kill. So the UK government decided to focus on another animal which is spreading TB, the badger. Now this is where I was going to have a really cute, lovely illustration of a badger from the internet to show you, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't print it off because my printer wasn't working, so I just drew a picture of a badger, and now I can't even find that! Oh my days! Where's my little badger picture gone? Oh, I'm going to have to use this blobfish. I'm sorry, this is such a serious topic. Wait. Wait, fixing it, there. Fix it, that says badger. So the British government decided that killing badgers might help to stop the spread of BTB. In 2013, England allowed the mass culling of badgers. And in 2018, 33,000 cows and over 32,000 European badgers were culled in England. So did it work? Well, it's really weirdly difficult to test whether killing badgers helps cure or helps stop the spread of BTB or not. In 2024, a study showed that badger culling reduced BTB cases by 56%. The problem is the study looked at real life, and people weren't only killing badgers to make it a fair test. They were doing lots of other things as well to help stop the spread of BTB. So the study sort of said, well, we can't definitely say that 56% reduction in BTB was just because of killing badgers. Another study earlier showed that culling badgers in one situation actually made it worse because the badgers all spread out, which spread BTB more and increased cases by 24%. But they weren't using a real life situation where maybe things like rivers and roads would have slowed the badgers down. So it's just, does killing badgers help to control BTB? What do the experts think? Well, Natural England are in charge of advising the government about these matters. Here is Peter Brotherton. He is their Director of Science. He's got a doctorate in animal biology from Cambridge University. In June 2024, he wrote a letter to the staff at Natural England. Here they are in their office. And in this letter he wrote to his staff, he said that in his opinion, it was clear that there were other ways to control BTB that worked, and we didn't need to kill badgers anymore. He said that the farmers had done loads of great things to help control the spread, and that the evidence showed that farmers could now stop killing badgers, which would save the farmers a lot of money and inconvenience, And we should clearly communicate that to the farmers so that they know that. And the British government said, no, we're not going to do that because any abrupt changes to policy would seriously undermine our ability to engage constructively with the industry on further disease control interventions. What that actually means is they said, no, we're not going to recommend that farmers stop killing badgers because they don't want farmers to get cross with them. 230,000 badgers were killed between 2013, when the culling started, and last year, 2024, which makes me so cross, I can't even think of a fun way to end this Lego story show. The end. Oh, I know how I can end this Lego story show in a fun way. There. Right, that is the end of my Lego story about badger culling. I'm very sorry to make it about such a sad topic, but I thought it's always in the news, and it's one of those kind of things where it pops up in the news all the time, and I don't really know the details. I always want to know the details about something before I make a decision and have an opinion on it, and it's really nice, I think, to be able to kind of, I mean, maybe that was a slightly biased angle, but I was trying to show you. It seems to be the scientific evidence now is that there is no need to kill badgers anymore. Yeah, so I think I stuck to the science whilst covering the government improvement. Anyway, you can make your own minds up. Right, that is the end of my Lego story show about badgers. I hope that you enjoyed it. Oh, okay, just before I finish, actually, I've got my internet again, by the way. So if you're watching live, if you go over to my Facebook page now, there is a post at the top of the page which says, if you comment here, I'll chat to you at the end. And it is working now. So if you want to go to my Facebook page and comment, then I'll read out any questions or comments at the end. The only other thing that I wanted to say was that, as if you're watching this live, then it's June, which is kind of springtime. So I thought, oh, that'll be a wonderful time to go and see badgers, because they'll have their little cubs with them, because spring's the time when all the animals have babies. No, I learned a thing. Now, I'm a science teacher, right? Most of you get really cross if I don't use the proper words for things. I feel like I always end up talking about how animals have sex in any lesson where we talk about animals. But I am going to talk about how animals mate babies, because it's fascinating, all right? So yeah, just before we go, okay, so mammals, like humans, dogs, cats, whatever, they are made when the male body, which has a sperm, meets an egg, which is in the female body, right? So you get an egg and a sperm mixing together, that makes one cell, and then that cell grows. These pens are terrible. But basically you get a cell, which is a sperm, which kind of looks like a tadpole. These are so awful! Come on, pens! It's totally my fault. But refillable pens, and then just don't refill them because I'm too lazy. So the egg's actually much bigger than... Oh, it doesn't matter, right? You get an egg and a sperm mixing together, and that makes a new cell, which like grows and grows and divides and divides and divides and divides. It's in the female body is that cell, and it ends up in the sort of snuggling into the wall of the womb, or the uterus, or the tummy, if you like, depends how old you are. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually becomes like the baby thing, like the baby cat, or the baby human, or the baby dog, or whatever. And then the baby gets born, okay? Sperm, egg, mix together, make new thing goes into the womb, gets bigger, 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 comes out. Not in badgers. No, badgers are doing this thing that I'd never heard of, which has delighted me. So sperm and egg come together, make new cell. New cell just goes dormant. Just chills, like what trees do in winter. It just sort of chills out for a little bit. It's still alive. It's just having a rest. It gets just enough oxygen to survive, but it doesn't multiply and grow into a baby. It can just stay there until the sort of badger has evolved to give birth, and the best time for the cub to survive, which it turns out is in February. So it doesn't matter when the male badger and the female badger mate and the sperm and the egg come together, this little guy just hangs around inside the female badger until about February, and then comes out, because it just so happens that that's the best time for the badger cub to be born, because there's then lots of food around. So yeah, it's called delayed, I want to say delayed implantation, can't remember, delayed something. But yeah, I just found out about that. I'm sort of gutted because it's June now and I want to go out and find badgers, and I was hoping to see the cubs frolicking and I've missed it. You've got to wait until February because of this delayed implantation thing. Yeah, right, that is the end. I think that is absolutely everything that I want to tell you. So don't forget to go to badgerwatcher.com and read his whole guide about how to spot a badger. And don't forget to not disturb them at all. Wear dark clothing. Stay very quiet. Yes, let's go over to my Facebook page and see if anyone has said hello to me. So if you're new, how this works is I stream free live lessons to home educators. I do 3 different things a week. I'm just going to find my Facebook page. I do an IGCSE physics lesson, and I do an all ages lesson, and they both come with free printouts, and they're designed to kind of, you know, increase your understanding and I check if you've actually learned things. This Lego Story Show is a bit less formal than that, as you might have noticed. But yeah, everything is free. Oh, hello, Alice. Everything's free. Everything's saved on my website for watching or catch up. And I just say, if you can afford £5 a month, could you please chip in £5 a month towards my wages? And enough of you are doing that it's a job, because you're amazing. The home educating community and other people who aren't home educating as well. I should say that. I always sort of, on the internet, apparently it's good to kind of pick your niche because it gets seen by more people. Okay, I'm going to fix these pens. So we always say home educators. It's not just home educators, but if you go to my website, which is called Coffee, it's in my About section. If you're on YouTube now, then just go to my About section and you'll find it's KOFI. It's this website called Coffee. You sign up to support me with £5 a month, and I send you really nice things to say thank you so much. Clearly, this is the best job ever. Look at me. And yeah, that's how it works. It's working really well. And I'll send you a bit of Science magazine to say thank you. The idea is you're paying for the lessons. You're paying for the 3 different lessons, or, you know, however many you watch, and the printouts and whatever, and all the research that I do. But I do send Theatre of Science magazine out occasionally as a thank you when I've written it. So if you sign up to support me now, if you sign up with £5, you get this mould issue, which comes with a free home compostable plastic bag. You can grow your own mould and identify it. It's got a choose your own adventure, a comic about how penicillin was discovered, loads of ideas for activities. And if you sign up with £6 a month, you get that. And you get the sleep issue, which also has a choose your own adventure and a comic and an origami koala and lots of information about what happens to your brain when you sleep. And it comes with some organic lavender, so you can sew a little sleep squish. Yes, so thank you so much. And then you'll just be on the list to get Theatre of Science magazine whenever it comes out. So if you are getting Theatre of Science magazine, then you are entirely responsible for this being my job, because I don't do anything else. I don't do one-to-one tuition. I don't teach Zoom lessons. You are the Science Lions. You are the only people who give me money. Right, let's have a look. Cowpats raining on the heads of people was the best way to end the Lego story. Yeah, thanks, Alice. I knew that I didn't have an ending for it, and I thought, oh, maybe something will come to me. And it did. Oh, what? We saw badgers on our patio at Centre Parks. We heard them crunching the monkey nuts we'd put out for the red squirrels. Is that the best I've ever heard? Sorry, they had red squirrels and you were trying to feed red squirrels and you accidentally fed badgers. That's so good. I've never been to Centre Parks. That has instantly made me want to get to Centre Parks. Mr. Brock from the Beatrix Potter Stories is so called because Brock is Old English for badger. This is why I need comments. I've only ever seen one badger many years ago walking home near some woods very early in the morning. Wow, that's a good idea. I never thought about going really. I am more a morning person, actually. That would suit me better to go really early in the morning. In Burrows, thank you. All right, Alice. Amazing costume. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with my badger ears. On Facebook yesterday, it was awful. I just had these brown ears on and looked like a bear because they're bear ears. That's why you should always come to the YouTube ones. They're just so much slicker, you know, aren't they? They're just so much more professional. Here's a whoa, 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 whoa. Darcy has found a badger skull. That is an actual badger skull. All right, let's have a look at this. It's like one of those psychology tests. I can see a lot of different things. That's a badger skull. If you told me that was an alien skull, I'd have said, yeah, seems legit. There's its one eye. But no, that's not how skulls work, Gems. That is, wow, that's fascinating, isn't it? Cool. Badger skull. Is it like a top? I can't believe I didn't look that up. Nothing preys on badgers, right? Things don't eat badgers. Humans run them over all the time and do also terrible things to them. Oh, there we go. Right, Lauren says, if the badger mates in January, are they born the next month or the next year? Good question. Very good question. I think they're born in January/February. So I think, I don't know actually. I don't know. I'm assuming that they would be born in February. Like there'd be nothing to stop them being born in February. There'd be no reason to hang on. They have more than one cub at a time. So apparently it's also quite a good way of like making it that maybe the cubs can have different dads. So it's a good way of kind of getting lots of DNA into the family. Is it also because of lowering the air pressure around the jar by blowing on it? Yeah, I didn't want to say the word Bernoulli principle because so many things on the internet get called the Bernoulli principle when they're not, but Alice, maybe. We're watching from the beginning. We're not early risers and always miss out, but really want to watch it and catch and support you. Aww. Yeah, we're not early risers either. Well, I am. I'm a really early riser, but the rest of my family aren't. We're watching from the beginning. Oh, that's so awesome. Hello. Thanks, Kay and fam. Science Day for Imogen and Ophelia. The girls have asked for a parrots versus toucans Lego show. That is good. I really need to get some of these off. I need to get some of these off the list though, don't I? I literally haven't got any room for any more. Seals versus sea lions. Mouse versus dog. Which is newts? Oh, there we go. We've done dog versus frog. And we've done fish versus cat. So we haven't done cat versus fly. I'll get rid of cat versus fly because we've already done cat versus, but we'll keep flies because we definitely need to do a Lego show about flies. Toucan versus parrot is a really good one. But I'm quite looking forward to potatoes versus carrots. Toucan v parrot. Okay. There we go. Thank you very much. That's a very good one. Oh! Daniela Cross and Chums, what are you saying? Cassie and Rowan. We think we have a badger set at the other side of the beck in our garden. There is a large hole and a little path and the wire fence is bent and there are also elderberries growing in your garden. No! Oh, you've just reminded me. Thank you so much, Cassie and Rowan. I forgot to show you the last couple of slides. I'm all over the place. Yeah, here we go. So this is what you might actually see that would be a clue that a badger set, isn't it? That's a badger set. I mean, obviously, it's just on your radar. If you're not thinking about it, I would never have seen that and thought, oh, badgers. But now I will definitely think that, because what else is going to excavate that much soil from a hole? And here's what the entrance to the set might look like. So you often get wildflowers growing around them because apparently they churn up the soil. And that allows lots of different seeds to grow. By the way, I also forgot to credit David Oakes' podcast, Trees a Crowd, which is how I found out most of the information for the badger culling story. And he's also been massively helpful with our woodlands module as well. Yeah, he's amazing. His podcast, Trees a Crowd, is great. You should listen to it. He did one about every single sort of British tree that is native to the UK. He did like 56-ish trees in a podcast, and it's just like 8 minutes about each tree. It's really good. Trees are crowds. Look it up. Okay, let's go back to here. Delayed fertilisation. Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Delayed fertilisation. Well, no, I don't know, because it has been fertilised. Yeah, I bet it's delayed implantation, because fertilisation is the sperm and egg coming together. So that doesn't get delayed. So thank you. It's probably delayed implantation. Haha, that's how I deal with it too. Yeah, Charlie, hello Charlie. And look, it worked out. We've been having loads of YouTube problems. They keep ending with just a black screen halfway through. But this one, we're doing it the Fit of Science way. We're just carrying on doing the same thing over and over again, hoping that eventually it fixes itself. And it did. Hello Sophie, Emily, and Hannah, and Katie. We are looking forward to going badger watching one night now. Woo! Katie's also very curious about what badger poo actually is. Yeah, so badger poo is going to be mainly earthworms, which are hard to find, aren't they? Like, it's not like looking at an owl pellet where you get like little bits of bone. I don't know really what but it might have some bits of seed in it, I suppose, and it's going to be quite big. But I don't know. I don't actually know like what you'll find in it. That's another live stream I can do, isn't it? If I find some badger poo. Hello, Tiger and Bird and Banjo. We get badgers outside too. Banjo is scared of them. Banjo, as well, you should be. You get badgers outside. Oh, there's Cassie and Rowan and Bodger and Badger. Hello. Hello, Lorelei. All right. Oh, hello. Hello, Tilly and Wilf. You're making me put on my excited voice. Tilly and Wilf are here in Colchester. Can you shout out to Abba? Oh, hello, Abba. Oh, we totally should do kingfishers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have seen a kingfisher. They're another animal that I'm always looking out for because I'm really excited if I get to see a kingfisher. I have seen them, but only a couple of times, and only really just like a little blue streak. Did you know kingfishers helped the person who designed the bullet train because they make sonic booms when they went through tunnels? It disturbed people, so he adapted the front of the train to be more like kingfishers because when they went into the water, they make no ripples. No, but I'm going to put kingfisher bullet train so that I don't forget that. That's very cool. That sounds like the kind of thing we could get an activity out of. A tenuous activity. Hello, Alice. Badgers often play in our garden in the evenings. Alice, no, Alice, that is not a photo that you took from outside your house. No, it's not. This is a photo that Alice says that they took their house. What? That's amazing. You're also making me sad that I forgot to give myself a black nose. Oh, my costume is a disaster today, Alice. That's ridiculous. That's what? I know, look, you should be giving that a shocked face. Person who's giving that a shocked face. I'm giving that a literal in real life shocked face. Oh, incredible. That's a much better picture than the one that I found on the internet. Hello, Shuki and Osby, Eunice and Salah and Musa. Yeah, fingers crossed. It doesn't matter if it goes black now, does it? It doesn't matter. We've all got what we needed to get from this lesson, I think. You've seen one as well at Stubbington. We have a read about this badger in the shops in Northampton. Has your badger made the news? What's your badger doing in Northampton? Wait, what? Oh no, that's bad. Whoa! So this is a story from 2020 from Northampton. Northampton Superdrug badger sheltering from storm gets blue plaque. Wow. A badger that fell through the ceiling of a Superdrug store while sheltering from a storm has got its own blue plaque to commemorate its misadventure, now named Baffle. So a female badger fell into a Superdrug. What? That's so confusing. Why was it? It fell through the ceiling while sheltering from a storm. Oh, that BBC News. I love you. You do great work. But that paragraph is making me more confused, not less confused. Why was it on? Sorry, what? It was sheltering from a storm on the roof of a building, and then it was sheltering from a storm on the top floor. Anyway, thank you. That's great. That's some real brain exercise for me today. Hello, Texie. Hello. Oh, Lauren, you want to do a block on earthquakes? Yeah. I feel like we've talked about earthquakes quite a lot, but actually not for a while. And they are a real classic, aren't they? I have done a couple of earthquakes lessons, but very early on. I should redo them. Hello, Casper and Iris. Is it working for others, says Kay. Oh, it just hadn't started. Yeah, sorry about that. It's always a right. I'm always very faffy. Hello, Ed. Thank you for all your... Are they called memes? GIFs. God, I'm so old. Thank you for all your gifts. These are adorbs. Hello, Aurelia and Elizabeth. Hello, A. There's Dexy and there's Neve. Hooray. I'm putting on my excited voice. I'm going to strain my throat. Me. It's just so exciting. I'm loving. This is kind of the first... I feel like maybe we did one about eclipses so that we could all go out and see an eclipse. But this is one of the only Lego story shows we've done where it's like got an action behind it. It's not just learning about squirrels. We can all actually try and do this thing now. Even if it's in 6 months' time when you're on holiday or whatever. We can all actually try and find badgers. Can't wait. Can we do wormy versus caterpillars? You want to do worms versus caterpillars? Oh, I don't know, that's a lot. I mean, caterpillars on their own. I'm going to write down caterpillars. Caterpillars. I don't know about worms versus... Sorry, should have been clearer. What Katie meant was, what is the badger poo? Oh, Katie! Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Sorry. Wow, I talked a lot about real badger poo. Sorry. The badger poo that I used on Lego Story Show was flour and brown paint, just to get the correct texture, so that it's too wet. It's going to ruin my story. And yeah, the brown paint was just a bit too sloppy. Can we do a show about cabbages? Hey, sure. You guys are the boss. I'm going to write cabbages. Oh my goodness. We only do one a week. This is gonna. I feel like if you came to our lesson about what is a tree earlier, I feel like you're coming up with a lot of ideas, and I am not doing Lego story shows enough. But I guess, you know, hopefully, I'm not going to retire for like quite a lot of years. I can't retire for a lot of years, even if I wanted to, which I don't. So it's okay. It's okay. Eventually, I'll catch up. Hopefully, if you follow Mr. Lumpy and Friends. All right, I'm just Cassie Rowan. I'm just going to carry on reading. If you follow Mr. Lumpy and Friends, a lady has foxes and other animals visiting her garden, and she feeds them and films them. Ah, that's nice. I didn't know that. I know, Alice, right? The Trees a Crowd logo of the squirrel with the acorn mic. It's so cute, isn't it? It's so cute. I went to university with David, so I do know him. He is now wildly successful. He's a really cool guy. He's an actor who also loves like nature. So, you know, it's perfect fit of science, isn't it? Perfect. You know, more kind of TV series of science, you know, if you want to get all technical about it, but whatever. Hi, David. So pleased you're doing well. And thanks for all your help. He's not watching. Far too busy to watch. He does support me though, actually. If he is watching, I should say that. He does support me. He gets Theatre of Science magazine. David Oakes from Trees a Crowd gets Theatre of Science magazine, so it must be good. I get foxes, sheep, deer, and red kites. What are you talking about? You're just listing animals. No one gets all that stuff. Are you being serious? I guess they're all on different levels, aren't they? The red kite, the bunny, the fox, the sheep, and the deer. Just in your garden. Okay, I'm just scrolling. Oh, there's Violet. Hello, Violet. I've never seen a badger, but once when I was on holiday, I saw a fox and her 2 cubs. Oh, from across the hill. Oh, that's so nice. It's weird because I grew up on a farm. Just lived on a farm until I left home. And foxes were so rare. Hardly ever saw a fox. And then went to like Manchester University and moved to London. And they're all over the blooming place. Foxes weirdly love cities, don't they? Hey, Henry's here. Hello, Henry. Love badgers. In our old house, there was a badger living in our garden and we caught it on a camera trap. That's just a camera, folks, if you're wondering. It used to eat loads of damsons on the ground. Oh, nice. Are you giving me some more details of the story? I don't feel like there's more. It said there were more comments. All right, Jacob. Once when I was walking home from school, I saw a mole move. Like there was a mole underneath. Oh, like you saw a molehill. Oh, that's another thing on my list. I'd love to see a mole actually making a molehill. My husband has, but then by the time he went, oh, I'm not making a molehill, then it wasn't doing it anymore. Right, I think we've got to the end of the comments. I think I'd better go because I'm actually doing a thing now. Yeah, I am. Doing a thing. I've got stuff to do. I'm doing a thing. I'm going out. Okay, I do that. I go out sometimes. I sometimes leave the house occasionally. So I'm going to do that. Thank you so much for your support. That usually says coffee, so that you can remember that. I'll stick this up, shall I? This is the magazine that you get if you sign up. Not this one because it's all gross, but you'll get a copy of the Mould magazine if you sign up to support me. There you go. Thank you for supporting me on coffee, and you will receive a lovely welcome pack in the post, and you will also be responsible for this being my job. And like I say, it's clearly the best job ever. My goodness me, I love you guys. Right, I'm just going to quickly, for the last time, refresh these comments, see if anyone says, look, there's molehills in your garden. Oh, you're in Wales. That explains it. I didn't mention Wales because the BTB Lego story was already far too long, but Wales did a thing where they started culling badgers, decided it wasn't working, and then stopped culling badgers. That's all right, isn't it? They started it, monitored it for, I think, like 3 years, and then went, nah, not working, not worth it, and stopped. So well done you. Mum says caterpillars versus cabbages. Ed's mum. That is strong, isn't it? We got there. Caterpillars v cabbages. Yes, you see? It needs all of us working together. Caterpillars versus cabbages. That is great. And that means I can rub off cabbages on its own, which gives me a little bit more space. Fab. Oh, and you've linked to a GIF of Avatar, which I love. It's one of my family's favourite cartoons with the waterbenders and the airbenders. Cabbages v beans. Alice, you're too late. That would have been good as well. Dexy's final comment. I don't like badgers. What do you mean you don't like badgers? Dexy, I mean, admittedly, I can't see anyone who takes part in these lessons. Are you a worm? Because if you're a worm, totally fair enough. You don't like, how can you not like badgers? What could possibly be a problem with badgers? Do you really like worms? Maybe you really like worms. Maybe you really like grass. If you've got a lovely lawn and you've got badgers on your lawn, I guess that would be bad. Right, I'm gonna go and do my thing because it involves leaving the house, so I probably should wash my face. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you if you want to watch my what is a tree lesson. Then it got split in two because YouTube's had a nightmare this week, but it is on YouTube, or it will be there for watching on catch up. What is a tree, and then what is a tree continued. And then next week we've got a whole new Lego story show. I don't know what it's going to be about. I just get to pick one of these things. I feel like we should do some plants, maybe potatoes versus carrots for next week. So I don't know. I'll have a think. But yeah, whole new Lego story show, whole new lesson about what is woodland next week, and an IGCSE physics lesson if you fancy coming to that as well. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you all very soon. Bye.